This is the Creative Download, hosted by Christy Bruneau and Chelsea Nettleton, created by creatives to inspire and encourage others to live in the fullness of their creativity.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Christy with the Creative Download podcast, and we are back for season 2. And I'm Christy Bruneau. I'm here with my co-host, Chelsea Lee Nettleton. Are you going by Chelsea Lee now, I think?
Yeah. And you know what? I keep kind of going back and forth. I'm like, man, why is that so hard? You know, as an artist, as a creative.
Yes.
Oh, so.
I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us what you've been working on.
Yeah. So I am a singer-songwriter, budding music producer, scriptwriter, photographer, videographer. And I think I mentioned this towards the end of season 1, miniatures maker. That's been a lot of fun. It's been fun to have literally hands-on, tactile and that kind of thing. So that's been really fun. And I keep promising I'll post pictures to our social media, and I keep forgetting. So yes, I promise I will do that. Yeah. How about you?
Well, I am Christy Bruneau. I'm also a singer-songwriter and writer, TV series writer now. Chelsea and I are working on a TV series. I also sell real estate. I don't always say that, but I support my husband. He is out with our clients, and I do our marketing and social media for real estate. And also a dancer, grew up being a dancer, and now working as a top liner with a songwriting trio at 2 a.m. Epiphanies. Which George was on last. George Slavic was on our show last season. He's our producer, musician, engineer. He does all of that for our team. Yeah. So it's been really, it's been a fun week. And we're kicking off season 2 with our adventure that we just went on. Chelsea and I met for the first time. We've been doing this in person, I should say, because we do this podcast. We've been working on this and our writing for a year, I think. Didn't we decide that? Maybe a little longer than a year.
For the podcast or
writing podcast? We started out as songwriters.
It's actually been like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Since we met the first time.
All in collaboration was a part of it last season. And we met, in a group to collaborate, and we started collaborating, writing songs. And then we decided, well, Chelsea and I really think a lot alike. So it would be like Chelsea would showed up one day and she goes, I really have this TV series in mind. I'm like, really? Because I've had one too for like 10 years. Let's do it. So we started that. And then another day you came and said, you know what I've really been wanting to do? I've been really wanting to do a podcast. And I'm like, let's do it. So that's
like I do too.
Friendship has been. It's been so fun. And it was so fun having you at our house. She flew out, live in Durango, and you flew out to San Diego last week, stayed with us for a couple days, met my husband, my son, my dog, and my cat. And we had fun in San Diego. And then we drove up to LA, and we went to the Production Music Conference, which is basically for production music and television and film and ads. And it was so much fun. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was an amazing week. And I thank you again so much to you and your family for, taking the chance on me, having not met in person, but we'd known each other for, like we said, like about a year and a half, taking a chance on me and letting me crash there for, 2 nights. And then we went up to LA, and then came back, and another night I got to see the beach, which makes my heart so happy because that's my happy place. Yeah. And it's a beautiful beach there in La Jolla and in San Diego. Like, I didn't realize I feel very ignorant, but I didn't realize there was reef there. To see those tidal pools, that was so cool. Like, that was so pretty. And I'll try, actually, now that I say that, we'll post, we posted a lot of pictures in our story on the Creative Download, but we'll I'll try and remember to post some of those as a reel.
Yeah, we took some selfies, and we did some pictures there. Yeah, it was just an amazing week. I'm so glad that you came. And a lot of our podcast is about moving through, like, in the process of our art or your writing. And we listened to this. It was so random too, and it was so good. We both were having some kind of imposter syndrome,
Massive imposter syndrome.
self-doubt, like we're songwriters. What are we going to do at the production music conference? Are we going to fit? It's just kind of this like
Yeah, we were newbies
nervousness.
there.
Yeah, our first time, like, are
Yeah.
people going to be nice? Like,
Right.
it, it was it was so good. But I don't, you listen, Chelsea recommended us listening on the way up to this podcast by, it's Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and who's the third, Sean?
Sean, and I always feel bad because I can never remember his name.
Yeah, sorry,
But
Sean, if you ever hear our podcast,
yeah,
but we love you. He was
because you guys
on
are all great. He was on Will and Grace.
Will and Grace,
Yeah, he
and
was
they're
Karen Smith.
buddies. And it's
Mhm.
called Smartless, right?
Called
That's the
Smartless. Yeah.
Well, they had Elton John and Brandi Carlisle on there. And so we thought, okay, well, we'll listen to that. We're going to a music thing. And it was so perfect for us.
Hmm.
I mean, it was Elton John talking about being in self-doubt. And we were
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
We're like, wow, we didn't even do this on purpose, but it was perfect timing. We
Oh,
needed
yeah.
that. We're like, okay, if Elton John can have self-doubt,
Yeah.
then we're in good company. We're allowed. Um,
It was
so
so relieving. And I think
mhm,
that that's kind of what our podcast has been about as well, is to like talk about what it's like to be a creative person in this world, which I think we all are in some way. But like when we really
mhm,
embrace it and we're living a creative life,
mhm.
like all these things pop up and that inner critic and that self-doubt. And,
Yeah.
to hear one of the most successful songwriters of my lifetime who impacted me a lot when
Yeah.
I was a little kid, even, um, to impact me in that moment. I mean, it really was like, oh, we're fine. Okay, we're going to be fine. Like Elton John,
Right.
even Elton John has self doubt. Like we are
Hmm.
good. Like we are allowed to have self doubt. It was just
Hmm.
it was such a magical moment for us. I feel like it kicked
Yeah.
off, the whole weekend to just give us permission to be ourselves and be where we're at,
Hmm.
meet ourselves where we're at, which we talked about in this first season
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And then, and to get there, not knowing, I mean, we came together, we shared a room, and, it was at the Universal Studios Hilton. So it was like, there wasn't really anywhere to go except for the Universal Studios. Like
Yeah.
we were kind of stuck in
We
the
did go over
hotel.
to City Walk. We did go over to City Walk
Yeah.
over there, which was fun. You know, kind of to see, just get a feel for the area. I mean, obviously, not all of LA and Hollywood are like that.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was kind of nice in some ways because we couldn't really go too many places and things were so busy. We were truly immersed in the sync world, in the production music world
Yeah.
for 3 days.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And the pool and everything, that area was really cute and really fun. So that was nice to go get to spend some time down there.
Yeah.
But
And then, so we get there. I mean, it really was cool. We get there and the first opening person, should we talk about him now? And then
I was
why
thinking the
not,
same
right?
thing. So we
Okay.
come off of listening to Smartless, hearing Brandi Carlisle and Elton John talking. Elton John totally being vulnerable and talking about his kind of not he didn't talk about imposter syndrome, but he was dealing with his own self-doubt, you
Yeah.
know, working now then with Brandi Carlisle and am I going to be good enough? I'm going to be able to
Am I going to
do,
be good enough? Yeah, that
am I
was,
going to be good enough? And it's like, wow, Elton John saying this. So we come from that on the ride up, and that was Monday. So then Tuesday morning,
yeah, so it's a 3-day event and they have panels and there was probably about, I don't know, 470 people, I think, total at
yeah, I
the
think
at the
so.
conference. And so they had an opening speaker and he
Mhm.
really set the tone, I feel like, for the
Mhm.
whole conference. And he had a 15-minute, session. And the first thing he says, we sit down and we're being really good students. We sit in the front row. We're so nerds. We're not going to be cool. We're going to sit in the front row.
Yeah,
So I
like
really
no, we're sitting right
suggest
here.
that's what I learned in my real estate coaching with my team. I mean, I have my gals that I work with. They're top producers, and guess where we sit at every
Mhm.
conference? It is front row. So I learned from them. So we sat front row, and he immediately starts talking about self doubt.
Mhm.
And we looked at each other like, this is going to be great. Like, and
Yeah,
he did a beautiful introduction of
it was perfect.
just basically that we all have it, and
Hmm.
don't let that critic, take you out.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know how fast you and I ran out there to talk to him, but like after that, we were like, "Oh my gosh, you were so good!" We tell him the Elton John story, and it was such a connecting experience,
It
like
was
the
great.
whole conference. But it really set the tone. So of course, Chelsea and I are like, "Okay, self doubt. This is gonna be our beginning of season 2."
And his name, by the way, was Dave Hill Jr.
Yes.
For those of you guys that are out there, uh, he wrote a book called Doubt Riding Shotgun,
Yep.
and that's what
Learning.
he talked a lot about that in his 15-minute kind of opener. And he was
Hmm.
like, all right guys, well, I'll be out, outside, at a table, I've got some books. And I don't I don't know which one of us got out there faster, because we're like, hey. And the funny thing is, I know we did end up out there at different times.
Hmm.
And so I think I had talked to him, and I was like, yeah, I really, this is amazing, I love what you're talking about, I'm so excited to read your book, I want to get it, do you take cash or Visa, whatever. And he was like, oh, I'm actually giving a couple books away to some of the participants. And so he handed me one. I was like, are you serious? So I had to tell him then about our podcast.
Yes.
Then it was so funny because you didn't know that I'd gone over there yet. I think we were maybe going to go together, but the way the panels and everything were, it was just
Yeah.
kind of a, hey, I've got a couple free minutes, I'm going to jump over there.
Hmm.
So then when you chatted with him for a while, and then kind of same thing, like talked about it. And so I know we both gave him our card, and we were like, if you're interested, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, guess what, guys? He's going to be our episode 2 guest.
Yes.
Woo!
We'll
So
talk more
excited.
about his book
Yeah,
oh my gosh, it was just so cool. I mean, and it was like here,
super
and I
good
don't want
dude.
to tell his story yet. We'll wait
Yeah, yeah.
till
We
next
won't get
time,
into
but
any of it.
he has an amazing story, and it's so inspiring. And I literally left that conference with so much inspiration. And I
Same.
think he really set the tone for all of us, because it's nerve-wracking for people to go and be in a group. A lot of people
Yeah.
had this is a conference for them. They come and see friends, and it's like, and I didn't really even know, like, until after, like, there I don't we don't always know who the producers are. At least
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
that
It
have
wasn't.
produced everybody. You don't see them.
Yeah.
They're not, the face on music, and, or even in television and film.
Mhm.
They could, and so there were some really amazing producers at this conference. I don't know what panels, like, did you have any favorite? The panels were so good too. And
Panels were really good.
yeah, did you have a favorite?
Yeah, they actually I just finished filling out my survey. So Production Music Association, for those of you guys that don't know, is who puts on the production music conference.
Hmm.
So the PMA, and they sent out, they're awesome. They sent out a questionnaire afterwards, and they were like, we'd love to get your feedback, blah blah blah. So I'm thinking back to like when I filled that out. My favorite, the one that sticks in my head the most, was the one on signature sound, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then my a very very close second was the strategy for sync placements. Is
Hmm.
I know that's not the exact title, but that was,
Yeah, that
both
was
of
good.
those. I took furious notes, took pictures of slides. I know you took pictures of slides,
Hmm.
and took furious notes. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, those were good too. I also really love the underscore panel.
That was cool.
And what an underscore is, if you're listening and you're like, what are they talking about? So, we all watch television and film, or most of us do, and ads. And within everything we're watching is a tremendous amount of music. And we
Hmm.
don't realize until we start active listening and like really listening to the music, how much the music affects the scenes.
Hmm.
And that one underscore was a lot on documentaries. I've always been a kind of a documentary buff, and
Yeah.
so and I've always watched a lot of documentaries. So I was really fascinated by the underscore that were presented. There was a gal that tours with, I think it was in this one, that she did the underscore for, she tours with Beyonce, and she
Hmm.
plays
She's a violinist.
violinist, but I think she plays viola and cello or something
Yeah,
too. I don't know.
plays
Yeah,
all kinds of strings, and she's
she was
amazing.
there, and she was so amazing. And they played, a scene that she of a film, and just they break down like the process of
Hmm.
how like the in that one moment the writer of the film really had jazz music. I thought this was interesting. In there his head he really had this jazz,
Hmm.
and they play the scene
What he was
in
picturing for it, right?
picturing for it, and
Yeah.
he's told her that, but it just didn't fit
Yeah.
what the scene was. So then he said, okay, do what you feel like this would make the scene. And she just played this like amazing, like, it's not even like categorized like classical, but it was like written for the
Hmm.
scene. And when you see the difference, it was just, to me, it was really fascinating to see it all come together and hear them talk
Yeah.
about it. And then the
Yeah, because
sound design.
the
Yeah.
director who is who you're talking about, he was for the again for those who are listening
Yeah.
that don't know.
Yeah.
So the director was working directly with her as the composer, and yeah, and he was like, "Hey, I really think I hear this jazz piece," and he then gave her the freedom. She's like, "You know what? I actually hear something with a lot of strings.
Yeah.
Can I play with it and let you know what I'm hearing?" And when he heard it, he was like, "You're right. This is perfect." And it was very simplistic in some ways, but that's one of the things I talked about specifically with
Yes.
underscore is like it a lot of times doesn't need to be big, crazy, bold, full sounds. Sometimes it really needs just a simplistic,
Yeah.
but of course, simple doesn't mean easy. I mean, it was beautiful and what she did, I mean, just oh yeah.
Yeah. Really amazing. I mean, and then yeah, just really like, because then there's other aspects of it too, where the other parts of production music is like really bombastic and huge and
Right.
stuff. So it was like kind of going back to the, what kind of music goes into what placement. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, we just nerded out. I think it was
Big time.
so. I mean, this could apply. We're going to talk a lot about music in this first episode, but actually, the underlining self doubt, getting through that is the message, I feel like, because a lot of things that we did over the weekend, we had to walk through that. Like, it
You
wasn't just
did.
that.
Yeah.
Going to the networking, doing all these things to meet people,
Hmm.
showing up, even though like, I just realized, like, oh, I'm going to have self doubt the rest of my life in all areas anytime I try something new. So, like, it could
Hmm.
be anything new, and I'm meeting new people, and I'm getting into a new arena. And I'm so happy to say that this group are the kindest people. They are like they bring the emotion to television and film, so I feel
Yeah.
like they have an emotional intelligence like that is very interesting,
Very relatable.
relatable and warm. So
Hmm.
it made it easy once we got going. And it's funny. I was thinking I have to talk a little bit more about Elton John, if this is okay, because it really came to
Yeah,
me
please
that.
do.
So we would tell people about this podcast we listened to, and we told David Hill about it, and we were like, oh my God, even Elton John has self doubt.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about how, like, music, I'm also reading a book right now called There Once, I Heard There Was a Chord, and it's music and medicine, and it's all about music and
Oh,
healing.
yeah.
And I remembered, like, how I just was this really funny little thing that popped up on my morning pages about Elton John, how that moment of us driving to PMC was so impactful for me.
Hmm.
And that as a little kid, he was one of my first albums that I would steal from my dad. My dad was a music collector. I was given a little Winnie the Pooh record player, and
Oh,
I'm probably like 5, right?
yeah.
And I would go and I would steal my dad, and his was one I stole. And I loved Yellow Brick Road because I loved like the artwork and everything. But I would play the songs in my room, and my parents were really young when they had me, and it wasn't always an easy time with them. And so I would oftentimes go in my room and shut the door, and
Hmm.
put on Elton John's Yellow Brick Road and tune out the world
Yeah.
and like make it through some, and just it brought so much. And even to this day, if I hear certain songs, like, he can bring me to tears so
Yeah.
easily just by listening to them. But it was this kind of cool moment that I had with myself, writing my
I
writing
love that.
pages, like, Elton John helped me when I was so little. And that how, as artists, no matter if we're songwriters, singers, actors, painters that we have no idea
Mm-hmm.
when we put ourselves out there into the world with our art or with our experience, like what
Mm-hmm.
we're doing, how much that impacts other people in a positive way. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, if I could tell Elton John, I'd be like, you helped me when I was 5, and then you helped me when I was 54 to make it through, and it's just like, he's such a beautiful human.
Yeah.
In his music, and that conversation with him and Brandi Carlisle so well. We'll put a link so you guys can listen to it too if you
Yeah,
want.
that because that was amazing. And in the spirit of transparency, like I'm really proud of us because we
Yes.
you and I of course talked about this. Like we pushed through a lot of our
Mhm.
self-doubt. We kind of put it on the shelf when we're like, you know what, we're just going to be bold and we're going to say hi to people, even if, not knowing who they are, then
Yeah.
like they had these networking lunches where, literally you go get lunch and then you just find somewhere to sit. And they had
Hmm.
us all, in a similar place, um, outside. And, like I was proud of us because we didn't stay together the whole time. We were trying to branch out, meet people. So the transparency part, there was, and I told you about this, but for our listeners, like, I think it was the last day. And,
Hmm.
we both knew that we were going to get overwhelmed. Like it was going to be a lot,
Hmm.
but we were excited. And so I was doing really well. And then all of a sudden, like midway Thursday morning, it just kind of all hit me where I was just starting to feel down and like the
Hmm.
doubt was kind of creeping in. And I just wasn't, I don't know, I was just feeling really negative. And I was like, you know what? I'd been eyeing this lovely little it's called a hydro massage chair that they
Mm.
had at the hotel. Saw
Yeah.
it when we first got there because it's right there in the lobby, kind of tucked away. But and I remember when we got there, I was like, oh, I need to go do that after traveling. And I didn't end up doing it. Thursday, I'm like, okay, I need to do something to get my head, get out of my head again. And I
Yep.
ran, and all of a sudden the hydro massage chair popped in my head, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go do that right now. So I
Yeah.
went and did that, let myself breathe. It was literally a 10-minute massage, chair thing. It was fantastic. If you guys ever like see a hydro massage chair anywhere, like they're great.
Yeah.
Um, but it was perfect because I was like, okay, so going back to our very first couple of episodes, I needed to clear my channel. Things were getting clogged. I was getting stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found something to go do just for 10 minutes so that I didn't miss out on too much stuff. Let myself, literally just sitting there. Didn't look at my phone. I just closed my eyes, let the chair, do the work on my back. And after that, I was like, okay, I can keep going.
Yeah.
So, but again, I mean, we talk about, trying to overcome our self-doubt and everything, but
Yeah.
it still happens. It's still going to happen, and I think what I'm so excited about with Dave is even just with the little bit that I've read of his book so far
Hmm.
is it gets me excited to look at doubt differently.
Yes.
And we've kind of touched on this with, I think I want to say the Artist Way touches on it.
Hmm.
I want to say Big Magic did too. But yeah, so, and again, we won't talk too much about his book yet because we'll let him tell a lot of his story and talk about his book.
Yeah,
But
he's got a great story.
but
Yeah.
if you do want to get the book before our episode,
Yeah.
again, it's Dave Hill Jr. and it's Doubt Riding
I'll have to
Shotgun.
get
There's a
rid of
picture
that.
of it if you're watching. Um, but yeah, it was like we're starting to implement some of the things that I've been reading now in his book, and it's like, okay, once again, it just kind of all comes together. So that was neat because I was like, okay, doubt is there, insecurity is there, imposter syndrome is there. Okay, well, just come along. Like you're not driving, but just come along. You're gonna be here anyways. Just shut up and sit in the back.
And you know what was so cool too is that we experienced all this, like we did go and do our own thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
we also we shared a hotel room, so we talked about stuff at night. But it was like the
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability that we've been able to develop through this podcast too. We do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that. It was so nice to have someone that you could bounce that off of, and it
Yes.
was so awesome. I don't know at what point, if this was before or the chair or after, but we had been off mingling with different groups, and I went to look for you because I was going to go up to the room, and I look over and you were
Oh,
there.
this
I
was in
think
the
you had,
afternoon. This was after
yeah,
the chair.
after the chair. Chelsea was standing with a group of five guys, maybe more, laughing and making everybody laugh, like, because you're so fun. And
Oh,
Chelsea, really, you are so fun
thank you.
and engaging and fun with people, new people. And I just walked up. I'm like, oh, look at her, check her out. She's got all these guys laughing. And then we carried on like with them for a little while, and they were like, I think those guys did like trailer music. I don't know. They were production
Yeah, two of them were composers
composers.
that do work in the industry. I mean, and
Yeah,
they've gosh, they've been into some really cool studios. Like I think one of them had been in a Hans Zimmer studio before,
yeah,
and they work for some of the TV shows in the area. One of them's
yeah.
kind of still building his name. The other one's kind of more consistent in the industry. So it was neat to hear
And
their
one of them had a podcast too, right? We were talking about the
yes.
podcast. So we're still in the follow
Oh
up.
yeah, that's right. I remember which one that was. Yeah. Okay. So it's
So
airing.
that was really just, I was just thinking about this just now, like how that just taking that 10 minutes, getting into getting into the hydro, is it a hydro chair? What do they call it? A
Hydro massage chair.
hydro
Yeah.
massage, and then kind of rebooting,
Yes.
listening to yourself, rebooting, coming out. And
Yes.
you did that quite a bit. We both like, were like, okay,
Yeah.
we're like, full,
Yeah.
going to
I even yeah, that's right.
taking care of ourselves,
Yep.
through it so we can be present, which
Yep.
is so, that really is like important. We were, it just was really fun. We got to meet and talk about Jody Friedman. I think he's lovely. I mean, I've been on Zoom with him. It was so nice to meet him in person. I've been
Mhm.
in his course with Elite Music Coaching for a year, learning about the business side of sync licensing.
Mhm.
This is a business. It's
Yeah.
a television and film business, and
Yep.
the music part is a part of it. So it's really, I've been really working on that. And now you've joined it, and
Hmm.
you're getting going on it, and it was good to meet with him. We got to sit with him at the Mark Awards. There were, and that
Yeah.
was fun because then you learn
That's
like, oh,
interesting.
these are all the different parts of television and film that people are getting awarded for that might not ever see, and the different
Yeah.
libraries. And but Jody was just so fun, and his assistant Angela, right? Angela was her
Yes.
name, was
She was
just great,
delightful.
delightful. And so to meet everybody in person, I think there were 28 of us from the Sync Titan
Oh, there was that
community.
many.
I think 28, I think
That's
they said.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was neat that there were so many of us. We kind of felt like we had a home when we
Hmm.
needed to, kind of regroup or find our people. We could find other Zinc Titans
Yes.
and then move on out again and, mingle and network and
Yes. And
and
I think, yeah, go ahead,
oh no, go
Chelsea.
ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying a lot of our episodes last season were, we started getting into collaboration, but I feel like as artists, the reason why I want to talk about this event so much is that it's so important to be able to like connect with their people, right? Like
Yes.
it's so important to be able to, like, songwriters are I love songwriters. Like, I get you if as a songwriter, and I feel like when you're with the, composers are like the
Hmm.
composers, there were composers, producers, songwriters, engineers. Like, when you're in that business, and there's just something about, they're like my people, it's
Hmm.
just good to be with your people, as
Yeah.
opposed to sometimes we can be very isolated in
Right.
our art, especially like if you're a writer,
Yeah.
and,
Or a
or
painter
a painter,
where it's
whatever
just
it is.
you. Yeah.
I mean, it's really inspiring to be with other people, and that in this group are extremely humble. Like,
They really, yeah, everybody there was like you didn't know who they were until they really like got into the projects they're working on and you're like, "Wait, what?
oh,
You
yeah,
have a $90,000 budget for a day because
yeah.
you orchestrate like what?"
Oh, yeah, she was really
She
cool.
was
Yeah,
cool. Pinka was her
yeah.
first name.
So,
Pinka
I
Dome.
mean, whatever your creative idea is, whatever your creative lane is, I think
Hmm.
it's important that you have other people to
Yes.
meet that are doing that. Is, I guess, the whole point of a lot of this,
I was gonna
because
say, yeah.
Like, so let's talk about, so we do the PMC, we meet all these
Well,
people.
I'm gonna pause you there because I just wanted to jump on that
Yeah,
train.
yeah.
That was a big thing that I wanted to point out too, was like, because this is the first time I know you've gone to like conferences for real estate,
Hmm.
which it's a similar idea, other professionals in your industry. I've never really gotten to go to any conferences. So I will say,
No.
especially from
Okay.
a first timer,
Yeah.
I would highly encourage you, like whatever your industry is, whatever your art is, do your research and make sure it's a worthwhile, and worth the money. But find a conference like this or something that you can go to connect with, like Chris, like you were saying, that you can
Hmm.
connect with other people in your industry, because like you and I both walked away from that not feeling like less than or feeling like, oh gosh, these people are so high above it. We walked away from there going, hell yeah, I can't wait to get back down or get back to my computer or to my guitar, and start playing,
Yeah.
and literally like playtime. Like, I want to go play. There's so many things we learned, and and people were so encouraging. It was neat too to see people that were like, it was to kind of humanize the people that are already in this industry, doing what we
Yes.
want to do. They
Yes.
were so down to earth. Like the gal, her name was Meredith, that talked about like she's a violinist. She's the one that composed that song we were talking about for the movie. Um, and she's the one that toured with Beyonce. And I mean, she said that just in passing and then moved right along, and it was just like, wait, what? Like, I'm sorry, what? And and you got to talk to these people afterwards, and just super nice. Like, they
Hmm.
wanted to help as many, they'd give out their contact information. Like, they wanted to help as many people as they could and encourage. Like,
Yeah.
I know you had Zoom meetings with some people.
Hmm.
I'm working on my follow-up for some people that are looking for top liners, that I'm like, ooh, I might be a good fit
Oh,
for
yeah.
you,
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
so I would just I wanted to jump back on the self-doubt thing, like encouraging that it's okay to have the doubts
Oh,
and the
yeah.
imposter syndrome. What you do with it is where you'll find that you succeed or you let go of a dream, or a passion. So it's like that's where that comes in. Not because you're gonna have the doubts, you're gonna have the imposter syndrome, you're gonna have the insecurities, but you can just bring them along, and they don't have to drive, they don't have to have a voice. You just know they're there, and what you do with it
Hmm.
is what's going to make or break you for whatever you want to do, no matter how big or small, you want to go with your art. So anyways,
Yeah,
so
no, that's good stuff, Chelsea. It's, the what comes to my mind with that too is like, oh man, I've wrestled with that kind of self-doubt, imposter syndrome in the past, like when I was solo artist and not like
yeah.
really didn't have a lot of didn't feel like I had a community. And it's
Mm-hmm.
much harder to ride that out on your own
Yeah.
if you don't have people that understand it. And
Yeah.
so I feel really blessed to like have you in my life and George and Lori in my life, and actually to be in, this elite music coaching program with Jody Friedman and Michael Elsner, because there's so many people there. Like we met a lot of our, fellow, they're called Sync Titans. It's a community that they start so that you have community.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went out to dinner with some people and talked about, so we have so many people now to like talk to,
Yeah.
that,
Not feel so alone. And
yeah, I'm a big, I wouldn't have said this before I went into real estate, but I am a big, I am for coaching. I am for
mm-hmm.
coaching. And if you want to get into something, I think there's therapy. That's
Mm-hmm.
different to
Right.
me. I
Right.
think, I think
I agree.
everyone needs a therapist like we need a dentist. I have a
Yep.
therapist that I go to, that my family goes to. We don't go all the time. We're doing
Yeah.
great. There were periods of time where we needed help. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching is like helping you to identify and do what you want to do. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily mean a life coach. Like I have a real estate coach. I
Mm-hmm.
meet with him once a week with my team, and
Mm-hmm.
we talk about trends and what's going on. And it's to help me to stay like when the market in real estate goes like this, how to stay in the game, you know?
Yeah.
And I was told that when I got into real estate, like, what is the first thing I should do? And she's like, get a coach. Oh, how
Get a
much is
coach.
that? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You know, I learned that with going through, you know, with Judy Stakee and with her songwriting development, and that's what she is. She's a songwriting coach.
Yep.
And Mike Meiers with a production coach. Like, you want to be a producer, okay, learn about how to be a producer of what's
Right.
currently happening right now. That's the part that I think is so like interesting to me, because I did music for a long period of time, and I didn't necessarily have the success that like I watched Jewel have and Jason Mraz and stuff, and probably because I didn't get coached before,
Right.
you know? And so like I know there are people that work in production. They might even do all this. Like, one of the guys in our group tour. There's a few guys that tour with pretty big bands who
Hmm.
are now wanting to work in sync,
Hmm.
and that is a different business. It is
Yeah.
not the music business. It's the film and television business. And so, I think having that ability to have that community right away.
Hmm.
And I just feel so blessed by it, because when this self doubt comes up,
Hmm.
because it does,
Hmm.
I'm not alone. I think that's a big deal for me. Like, if
Oh,
I'm
same.
alone with it, and I can tell my husband, and he gets it in some way. But like, here's how him and I are. If he's a surfer, I'm a songwriter. I can get
Hmm.
up on stage and I can sing in front of people in a microphone, a lot of people. I love that.
Hmm.
If I told him to do that, he might have a heart attack and might freeze and never do it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like different. And then for him, surfing, he surfs these waves that I would die. Like, it's life or death for me. And so you know, it's different self-doubt, right?
Yeah.
Creative self-doubt's different than like, am I physically going to be able to survive that
Right.
wave? Um, you know, so I don't know. It's just been so fascinating. And then, you know, I am proud of us, Chelsea, because after that, we had a meeting with one of your mentors
Hmm.
in LA that we set up, and everything just was working so smoothly.
Yeah.
And I hope I didn't talk too much, because you said, let me do most of the talking. And I'm like, okay,
Oh,
I
with our
did
meeting?
yeah, I
No,
took
you did
good
great.
notes. I took good notes. But you know, so we did like double whammy. I mean, we did double whammy. We like jumped into the music part, like met all these people, and then, you know, went and met your mentor. Lovely, loved him. He was so inspiring, and just
Yes.
like went and he gave us homework, and we're like,
Hmm.
thank you. You know, it's like when you get
Perfect.
homework from someone like him, you're like,
You're
yes.
like, yes, please, more. May I have more?
And
And
now,
just to jump in on that,
yeah,
that was for our TV series that
TV
we're working on.
series.
That's
Yeah.
why we met with him, but also just because I haven't seen him in a long time, and it was really great to meet up with him. So, anyways, continue. It
All of it was so good, but it was a lot of stepping out of our
was a
comfort
lot.
zones. I mean, and
Yeah.
you know, you were in like staying in some stranger's house like ours, you
That
know,
I've
but
never met.
yeah, like, and it was just so beautiful. And I think it's important to do things like that in our
Yeah.
lives forever,
Yeah.
you know, and it's important to think like Elton John did, like to imagine, I really want to do this with you, like him being Brandi Carlisle. It's like you
Hmm.
and we really want to write this TV series, and man, we're just so into it, and it's so, you know, it's like so intuitive for us, and we want to do it, and we're like, show us how to do it. Like, how are we going to do this? Are we
Yes.
going to be able to just, you know? And it's like, oh, now we have our homework, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
now we're on to the next level, and that's how it works. No one just shows up and is like finished.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
That's when you're
Yep.
dead.
Yep.
That's it. That's when they're saying your eulogy.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're just not, and that's how Elton John affected me in that. Like, if you want to do
Yeah.
creative stuff,
Hmm.
you're gonna feel that. You're gonna
Yep.
feel that stuff.
It's
And it's
just a part of the process.
yeah.
And the more we take away the power from the doubt, the more, like, the easier it will be to have it riding shotgun, using Dave's metaphor.
Yeah,
I'm trying not to get stuff away from his book because I've like
I
just a little
know.
bit that I've read already. It's just like, oh, it makes me so happy. But yeah, the let's see, you mentioned something. Oh yeah, so meeting with my friend. I feel like I should clarify so that people don't think I'm a jerk. So I was saying, I was like, okay, I'll kind of handle the talking
Oh,
in the meeting only because from a writing standpoint. So let me
yes,
clarify
yes,
that.
that's
just
fine.
just because like my background, I have my MFA in screenwriting. And so and since you were new to meeting him, so just didn't want
Yes.
you guys out there thinking that I was a jerk. Not that you guys would think that, but you might. I don't know. You don't know me.
No, I mean, it's so yes, thank you for clarifying that because when Chelsea, as you can tell, we do a podcast together, and when we get together, we get like really excited and we start talking, and
Yeah.
like, and so we kind of agreed that when we met with her mentor, that we'd try to be calm.
Exactly. We were
Okay, we're
like,
gonna
not
be
that we can't be
calm.
ourselves. We just wanted to not overwhelm.
Yeah, and I think we did a good job. And what was so beautiful about it is that I think that I don't know, I think you and I individually grew even in those few days before
Yes.
we met him because we talked about that we were originally going to meet him before the PMC
Yes.
and he had to switch the appointment to after and we thought, oh my God, we're going to be so tired, but we weren't. We were really inspired. And so
Hmm.
when we and that he was interested in that. And it was really
Hmm.
cool to be writing a TV series and be at the PMC because
Yes.
I could totally then as a writer think about, oh yeah, like in my head, I do have songs that go through that I think would be
Hmm.
good fits for scenes. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, but maybe not when it gets all
Right.
done,
Right.
and you're like, it might not work. And like to be able to see both sides is really helpful, I think, if you're trying to be
Yes.
in the business, right? Because it's a business, it's a creative uh, outlet, but it's also a business. And your mentor was so lovely because he really has a balance of that. He has a really
Yes. He
very
totally
much a
does.
balance of the creative aspect of it, and then the like, this is what's expected.
Yeah.
And God, that was like a great hour and a half to take to finish our
Yes.
creative adventure, 8-day adventure.
Well, and I feel like, yeah, right. I know. And it felt like that meeting really helped us focus on, okay, here are our next steps. Cause it's not that we were floundering by any means. Like we have, a 22-page Google Doc, that like has all these ideas, and we have a pilot written, that just
Mhm.
needs rewriting, so we have a lot of stuff. But I think we're getting to that point where it's like, okay, we've got all the things. What do we need to focus on first?
And we
And,
needed to
what's the
share it with
order?
somebody. That was the other
Yes.
part. That's a big
Mhm.
self-doubt hurdle. So like we had
Yes.
to share it with him.
Yes. Yeah. And watch the face for,
And
oh, this
oh
is
yeah,
terrible, or
okay, here's your
oh,
homework.
this is interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
So,
that was the next step. We did all that work,
mhm,
and then it's kind of like, our goal was that we really want this TV series to go to production. So it's like then you have to take the next step, right? Like you have to like reach out and say, okay, here's
mhm,
what we have. Is there anything else we should be doing? Because like you even said it, and I think this was brave of you to say, and it's like being off, like the thing I'm getting out of all of this is just to be authentic. Don't
yes.
try to be somewhere you're not. And
Yeah.
I've been hearing that for 2 years. Like be where you're at and know that like wherever you're at, the people that are wanting to help you, they're going to give you the next steps to go. You don't want to have to show up. And I think that was really great because
Mhm,
you do have a master's in film and television,
mhm,
and there may be some current things happening now that like he kind of shed with us. Like, here's
mhm,
what's happening now. Like, this is
mhm.
what they want now. So it's like we wouldn't have known that,
Yep.
but
Yep.
you have the skills because you've learned that and you've worked with him already,
Mhm.
so it's like it was a self-doubt hurdle to reach out to
Yeah.
him.
And
And
speaking
he
of
got back to you
coaching,
like really quick. So
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean, I think, well, okay, so speaking of coaching, I mean,
mhm.
in a way, we've kind of asked him, by reaching out, asking him to read, some things and then meet with us, like we're asking him to coach us and, mentor us. Um,
And he did
and
seem interested in us
he did. Yeah. I think, yeah.
and in what we're doing. So that's a good sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He seemed encouraged, or he encouraged us,
Yeah.
to, do these next steps, and then we'll take it when we get to a certain point. Okay, then we'll take it. We'll go. Oh, ugh, gosh, tripping over my words here. I'm like so excited about last week. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, to use a
Yeah.
very worn out cliche, but still it works. Um, anyways, yeah, that was really neat.
Yeah, doing what's in front of you. So, like, that's kind of what
Yes.
you're saying, right? Like,
Hmm.
so that's another tool against self-doubt, right? So, and to stay in our creativity, it's like we're where
Hmm.
we're at. That's just where
Hmm.
we're at with it. And now we
Hmm.
have, okay, do the next indicated thing. And he kind of
Hmm.
mapped that out for us, which
Yeah.
is so helpful because in creativity, a lot of times, it's like I do believe in setting the goal,
Hmm.
and our goal with I know is to get get it into production. That would be ultimately the goal. So here are the steps, right? And then the same with music, right? Like the goal is to get music placed
Hmm.
in television and film. Okay, how's that? So it's like we really, the idea is to meet yourself where you're at, wherever the art is, and go to the
Hmm.
next step.
Yeah.
That's the goal, for what the goal is. And
Mhm. And
along
try
the
not to look
way,
too far ahead,
right. And enjoying the process. So
and
that's the
enjoying
thing
the
too. Like,
process.
I love it. I love writing
Hmm.
songs with my team. I
Hmm.
love watching the song come from beginning to end. We've talked about this. And at the PMC, I also is one of my favorite parts is when they played the song that one of the gals wrote. I think it was for the different placements. So she
Oh,
wrote a song and it was very singer-songwriter on the
yes.
piano.
Heyo. Was her
KO,
name.
yeah, and she performed that the awards. And then they played like it got picked up by one of the other guys on the panel, made it into like a sports theme. Like
Hmm.
it was so different. And so
Hmm.
that to me is so exciting to do. And
Yeah.
same with writing with you. I have so much fun
Hmm.
writing with you and
Yeah.
developing these characters. And so I think for me, it's like being in the moment of the creativity
Hmm.
is so helpful. And
Yeah.
then, yes, there's times where like, okay, time for the next step, and then having to
Right.
do those hurdles like one thing at a time. So
Right.
I'm proud of us, Chelsea. I think it was a great way. This is a great way to start our season 2.
Yeah. Very
And
excited. And we met a lot of people out there at the conference that, you know, we mentioned, wanting to have more interviews and more guests on our show. So we may have some more from that. We do
yes.
want to bring other, just throwing this out there to you guys. We do want to bring on other artists that, are in a different medium than us,
Hmm.
painting, dancing,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. So forgive us if we don't find those guests right away. We're still, kind of learning and navigating this whole podcast thing. So
Yeah.
don't think we've forgotten about you guys, because we're so excited about all of our artist listeners, and non-artist listeners. If you're just enjoying listening to the podcast, that's great. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
because we're
think.
going to have self-doubt. I mean, all of this
Mhm.
stuff we talk about applies to a lot of aspects of our lives,
We have doubt about our podcast,
Yeah.
like, because we are new at this. I mean, we're, trying to train ourselves and get, some of the education that we can that's
Yeah.
out there for podcasting. I mean, I read a book on podcasting before, before we started this, but there's always doubt. There's always self-doubt.
Well, I think we ended up keeping it simple.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
why we
thing.
do it the way we do it, so that in this world, in this
Yes.
part, because we are so getting more structured in the other areas, that in this world, in our podcast world,
Hmm.
we keep it simple
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
just come as authentically to you as we can,
Absolutely.
of what's happening in our lives,
Hmm.
and you know the that it's not presented it's not scripted, it's not
Yeah.
presented. I mean, we have an outline, but
Yeah,
today we
sometimes we
don't
have
have an outline.
notes. Yeah, today we're just like, we're just gonna go and talk about the week and, encourage. Um, gosh, yeah, it was an amazing week. We'll probably keep posting some different stuff.
Yeah.
And I know Christy and I have talked about doing more videos for our social media, just again, authentically us as things hit us. So we want to try and do more things like that. I'm thinking it'd be kind of cool too, like you guys as listeners, as things like self-doubt or imposter syndrome come up, and maybe you conquer them, or maybe you're in process of conquering or trying to figure out what to do. I think it'd be kind of cool if you guys wanted to send in videos of that,
Yeah.
that we can post to our channel too. So please feel free, like
Yeah, you
and
can
again,
send them through Instagram.
mhm,
You can
the
like send
creative,
them.
yeah, the creative download podcast.com is our website, and then the creative download podcast on all of our social media.
Mhm.
We'll try and get better about posting things that you guys can respond to and things like that. I know we want to kind of focus on that starting with this season, is just building this community a bit more, by posting on social and things like that.
Yeah,
So,
so subscribe to our Instagram or to our YouTube channel, the Creative Podcast Download, and follow us on Instagram. I think
and
those are the
Facebook.
Instagram is where we're posting most of our stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then you can listen wherever you want, but definitely follow us. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with David Hill Jr. and him talking about Doubt Riding Shotgun. But we hope you enjoyed our first season of
Yes.
the Creative
And
Download
there's
podcast.
if you want to know more about us and haven't listened to much of the first season, go back and take a listen.
Yeah.
And see where we're at, see where we're coming from.
And I
Learn
know
more
we
about
have
our personalities and our I don't know, our
who we
quirkiness.
are. Yeah. No, and it's so fun. Like we do have people like, can we talk about I think it's your cousin before we wrap up. But
Yes.
thank you for
Yes.
listening and tell the
You know
story
who
because
you
it's so
are.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so special because she messaged me and she let me know that she was in the process of listening to an episode, the one where we were talking about vocal warm-ups and things, and I mentioned that you, Christy, had inspired me to kind of get back into some vocal coaching. And right now I don't have the money in the budget yet to do an actual vocal coach. I was like, well, I'll find something on YouTube.
Yeah, there's
And
some good
so
YouTube stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good, like short, some
Hmm.
longer, vocal warm-ups and vocal, coaching, just to, because this is a muscle. This is
This
an
is the
instrument.
instrument. Yeah.
Yeah. So I found some on YouTube and I was playing. So we were talking about that in an episode, and she was so funny because she's like, yeah, and she had to leave me a voicemail, but she's like, I paused the podcast. Sorry, had to pause it. She's like, and I pulled up some YouTube vocal warm-up. She's not, music and singing isn't her thing. I
Yeah.
mean, I think everybody likes to kind of sing along and stuff like that. It's not something she focuses on. So she's never done vocal warm-ups, and she let me know in the voicemail. She's like, yeah, I turned on vocal warm-ups. I listened to those and sang along with them on the way to work. She's like, it was one of the most fun drives I've ever had. She's like, I had no idea. She's like, some of the stuff I could actually do pretty well. Some of it, not so much. She's like, but I just had so much fun. And
That's great.
that's like, again, that's another example of what we want to do with this podcast. That's, she tried out a new art, an area of art that she'd never played with before. And
Yeah.
and she got to play,
Yeah.
and she had fun. And she wasn't trying to, be the next, Beyonce. She just did it to have fun and explore,
Yeah.
and I think above anything else, that is how, our tagline is, encouraging others to live in the fullness of their creativity.
Yep.
That's how you do that, is exploring your own art, maybe trying something new. We talked a lot about curiosity and how to be curious about things and keeping your mind open. So I'm excited. We're going to explore a lot of that stuff this season.
Yeah, there's more to come.
More
Well,
to
good.
come.
So good to see you again, Chelsea. And thank you, everybody, for
Yeah.
listening. And we'll be back for episode 2 of
With Dave Hill
season 2
Jr.
with Dave Hill Jr.
Yeah,
All right,
very
bye,
excited. All
guys.
right, bye. Thanks for listening to The Creative Download, hosted and produced by Christy Bruneau and Chelsea Nettleton, edited by Chelsea Nettleton.